Games, Brains A Banging Life here. Lockdown City, still in lockdown. We are doing 10 things we love about 2020 so far. We're doing it this way because, we're doing it this way because of lockdown, obviously.
Yep.
But we're doing it this style because we didn't really plan to do any of these in lockdown. We originally had more than enough content to potentially see us through. And then I was like, oh no, it's gone on too long. We're all still dying. Probably need to do this now.
Yep, get it done before we die.
Yeah, and rather than just going for a random band or a random thing, it was like, okay, 2020's been, it's May, middle of May, come up middle of May by the time this goes out. Yeah, it's almost 6 months basically. We can come up with 10 things we love about 2020 so far. And this covers rock and metal, horror, and gaming, or the three main credences of the site basically. And of course, there will be a second video, 10 things we hate about 2020 so far. So, would you like to get us started, Brendan?
Yeah, okay. Cool. I didn't really do these in much of an order, I don't think. So it's just going to be the way I've written them down. So I guess that is an order.
Yeah.
Because it's the things that popped into my head first. So I guess whatever comes first, I like the best. So I actually started off with a song, which I've mentioned about 1 million times so far, which is Serenity, Soul and Sins. Which I basically see this as my spirits will collide for 2020.
Yeah, really? Okay.
I love both versions of the song because the album has a electric and an acoustic version of it. I would dread to think of how much money I've even managed to make them through streaming. I reckon Apple Music will take it off me soon. They might have to give them £1.
Yeah, you had your limit.
But yeah, I love everything about it, man. I think it's one of the best songs. It's not like oh my god, this is the best song ever written. But just every now and then, like when you get a song that catches you, like Spirits Will Collide, which was just massively uplifting. The sort of thing that you wake up in the morning, you feel shit, you put it on, you feel better. Yeah, and that's really what this song does for me, as well. So I've actually got a playlist on my phone of uplifting songs, and there are now 2 in it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but that's only because I only set it up today, and I was like, all right, I'm going to put both of these in it. I'll come back to it and put other stuff in later.
I have a similar playlist. It's my driving playlist, and it basically is filled with my feel good songs. So not all uplifting. There's stuff from The Hope Burden and Ghost Bath and Mullen.
Yeah, not massively uplifting.
No, but it makes me feel fucking good. But
yeah.
My song, although it's not on this list, would be from Demons and Wizards, Children of Cain, which is what you're saying, which is no matter how many times I hear it,
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the thing with this song, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I've actually been late twice to 2 appointments. 2 times I've been late to an appointment. One was a meeting and one was a dentist because of this song, and I couldn't bear to turn the engine off halfway through. So I sat in the car knowing I was late, waited for it to end, then turned the engine off and went in and was like, sorry, listen to a song.
Oh, I love that. I'm sure they would love that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, what will I start with? Let me start with an album. So, one of the biggest surprises for me this year, and I've always had an interest in folk metal or folk rock, but it's not something that comes up much in the site, and it's often always a bit of a shit, can we really cover this?
Yeah.
But often it delves enough into rock or themes around it that I've been okay with it. Whether or not I love them, though, is rare. I like songs. Sometimes I listen to a folk rock album and I like a song. Who are they? Rome, the band Rome, who are massively big in Europe, but they are a little way too soft, dare I say, for an album. But they did an album or an EP late last year, which is called the Dublin Sessions, and it was basically written in the style of like Ireland, Irish. So it's got very Irish folk style songs.
Or like Celtic music.
Yeah, well, yeah, like traditional folk music in like you would expect here in Dublin.
Oh, diddly diddly.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Tell my ma when I go home.
But a lot more somber than that.
Sorry, I've obviously spent quite a bit of time in Dublin in the last year or so, and every pub in Dublin has like a singer song. Well, sorry, he's not a songwriter. He's just doing them sort of songs, and every one of them play that "Tell my ma when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone."
Yeah.
So whenever anyone says, "Oh, what's the music scene like in Dublin?" That's all that pops into my head. That fucking song.
I thought Ocean album was more of like the last song of like last drink of the night that but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just using that as a reference point.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
This year, an artist came our way through the email system, and it was the name grabbed me straight away. King Dude, King Dude, and I was like, "Fuck is King Dude?" The album was called Full Virgo Moon, and it was the press release really caught my attention, and I was like, basically, this man, this solo artist, this folk artist, has been heavily criticized and called a Satanist and stuff like that.
Fucking hell.
And
I like him already.
It was quite fascinating. So I put it on, and this album, this is possibly the best folk album I've heard in my life. It was 10 out of 10 on the site. Its music is songs I still listen to now, even though it's months ago that I first got hold of it. One of the songs, I actually have learnt the words for one song off completely. I never do that. And
you're not great with lyrics.
No, but I can sing this. I can't sing it because this voice is like treacle, whereas mine's this. But I'll in the car and I'll have it loud and I'll be singing along and thinking like I you know, and it's the lyrical content of this one particular song about how basically like kid, you know, oh God, it's a beautiful, beautiful song sung with this really devilish lyrical content about Satan and evil and twisted things, but in folk acoustic rock style. Love it. It's probably this year's. It's not like it's going to go down as one of the best of the year, but there are better albums if it makes sense. But it will go down as my most surprising find.
Yeah. And it's definitely left an impression on you, which is we can really hope for, isn't it, from an album?
That's it. Yeah. I'd
rather hate an album completely because it left an impression on me than you know, just a weak, average, middle road album.
Yeah,
be brilliant. Shock me something, but
another death metal release where that's cool, it's solid, but that's it.
We are ripping up death metal. How are you going to do that? 3-minute songs with blast beats. Cool. Yeah. Okay, I kind of went for a band, I guess, but it is around a specific album, which is their second album, their sophomore album. But I kind of put down they're my band of the year, and this is Cabal. The album Drag Me Down, which came out a month or two ago. A band I wasn't very familiar with at all. Probably on paper wouldn't like, because they are described as anything that has the word core in it. Other than also the term beatdown. But not by them. By the terrible press kits that come out sometimes, and you know, I think there's a couple of websites that kind of focus on the core scene and they're champions of them and that sort of stuff. So on paper, this album wasn't going to be a good album for me, you know, but it blew me away, man. I think it's called Drag Me Down. It is, every time you listen to it, it just gets better and better and better, you know. It is extremely heavy, extremely brutal. There are all the things you expect from the core side of things, like the breakdowns and, you know, stuff like that. But there's so much more to it, man. It's just one of the best things I've ever heard. And, you know, there's a best song on it, which I can't really pronounce, which is probably the heaviest song on the album too, which is called like Jaela Brand or something like that. It's got like SJAELA brand. But it also features Matt Heafy from Trivium on it.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, you're looking at a band that their second album, I'm pretty sure they're Italian, but might need to be corrected on that. And you're seeing people like Trivium and all that all coming in, and it isn't a Trivium styled song. You know, they've come in and played on a Cabal song. You know, so you can see that they're kind of making some waves there. You know, that's a big name to get in on a second album when you're just kind of making your name for yourself. Yes. And you'd expect if you're going to get Matt Heafy in, then it's going to be because you're going to Trivium up the song a little bit.
Yeah.
And he might come in and do a clean passage, but that fuck knows where he is on this. He might be doing some of the death growling in it, or playing guitar, or you know, maybe just standing in the back applauding. You know. But like, it is a brutal song, but like it's not core to, you know, you wouldn't listen to it and go, you obviously are right, it's metalcore, it's deathcore, that stuff. You do get that out of it, but you listen to it and you'll find so much more. You know, you could argue parts of their album hit the melodic death metal side of things. Yeah. Sometimes if they go almost full like hardcore, and over the whole course of this 10 or 11 tracks on this album, like, there's no lull, there's no point where it's heavy for the sake of heavy. It's always clever. You know, it always kind of seems to hit you really, really hard with some like fucking insane brutality, but then follow it up with something like a little moment of a lead guitar or something like that kind of pulls you back up. It's one of the cleverest albums I've listened to this year so far, like easily. And like for a band, their second album, I've seen them active on social media, and a lot of people are saying like, wow, you've changed from your first album, which was apparently beat down and, you know, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And, you know, the band replying to it saying, yeah, like, look, we're proud of our first album, but, you know, we wanted to grow and we feel like we've grown.
Developed,
and I just like, you know, I come out of this and like when you see bands that are interacting like that and the music backs it up and you've got stars like your Matt Heafy's and there's lots of other guests on it as well, all kind of saying, yeah, do you know what, we wouldn't mind getting in on the act here a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I just think like Cabal they're my band of the year so far. You know, I think like my new band of the year, you know, the band I haven't heard of before that I'm going to come out of this as a massive fan of. You know, my missus asked me the other day, like, oh, do you want a band t-shirt for Father's Day? Like, name a band. And instantly it was like, oh, I want a Cabal one. You know? So, yeah, you know, look out for these guys. I think these guys are going to be fucking huge in metal for a start. You know, I think that's a hell of a way to get yourself off the ground. Debut album creates a scene for yourself in your home country. Big enough that your next album, you see people like Trivium and all that saying, oh, yeah, we'll guest on it.
Yeah.
You know, which is, so... But yeah, it's a brilliant album. Drag Me Down, and I don't know if you haven't listened to it. Like it's a must listen to this year. Probably, I don't think it's my album of the year, but it's in my top 5 at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
With a long way to go.
Check us being so enthusiastic about our music.
Yeah. Nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Other than work.
Okay. Have I got a shorter one? Yeah, you know, I'm gonna have a shorter one. This is more of a plug about us as what more than anything else. So I've done a fair few interviews this year.
Yeah.
With some decent, you know, big name artists as well. However, I was looking at them when I was doing this list, and I was like, okay, I think it had come from just having done an interview with Chris of Winter Phylith and enjoying that, and I'm thinking, man, it's so good. I love that part of it. And I thought, what was my favorite of the year? And I looked at all I'd done this year and I remembered. So early in the year, I think February time, I'd had an interview with Maurian of Dark Fortress. Now, this is, as always, scheduled roughly to be 20-odd minutes long, 20 to 30 minutes long. That's normally the scope I go for. Depending upon them, this interview is almost an hour long because, again, image and stuff. And it's like you take one look at Dark Fortress and it's like, I don't want to talk to them. Mean, you know?
Yeah.
And what I ended up talking to was one of the most eloquent, smart, interesting, chatty blokes that just went on and on to the point where I remember I had to cut out, I think I had 15 questions and I had to cut out 4 of them because I looked at the time and was like, we've got to wrap this up, you know? So yeah, that interview with Maurian of Dark Fortress is one of my favorite things of 2020.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I will also try and do a short one. Just because I know I've got a couple more longer ones on the way. So, kind of, I guess, staying in the same scene. So I'm just going to pick out one specific. But for me, we're seeing Dream Troll this year.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which was right early on.
Yeah.
I questioned this for ages because I might have actually turned out that I'm corrected, but I was kind of like, it was this year, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
Traveller.
Yeah, Traveller, Riot City, Hannah, Dream Troll.
Yeah, that was this year because
it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, because I wasn't working. We haven't been to many. No, it was 100% because I have a gig as well, and I went to our site to look at what gigs, the reviews. We had 4.
Yeah.
And the very first one was this one.
Yeah.
I remember going, I can't use that. Wasn't there?
But yeah, you know, I went into this year with like big plans on gigs, like lots of bands announced coming over, like everyone did, I'm sure.
Yep.
Or everyone says they did, because I kind of remember pre-lockdown, none of you fuckers were turning up to the gigs anyway. Sorry. Wrong video. But yeah, like I guess obviously Dream Troll were a bucket list band, and one of the things about all the gigs that were due to come up, like Cattle Decapitation, you know, potentially seeing bands like Chemist, you know, there were chances. It was all a lot of bucket list bands. You know, it was going to be a good year for ticking bands off the bucket list.
Yeah.
And it ended up so far, at least, just one. Yeah. And that was Dream Troll. And I didn't realise the importance of it at the time. So aside from the fact that I had a wonderful night and I got to see a bucket list band for me, I didn't also realise that would be the last gig I would have been to in the, you know, from then. You know, so it kind of holds that little bit more importance, I guess, to me now, which is like, not only did I catch one bucket list band, but thank God, we didn't all get eradicated 4 or 5 weeks earlier.
Yep. And here's the thing, it's not going to change. That's not
No.
going to change. It's not like, if we're lucky, maybe October, November time, at least a lot of bands are banking on that. We might be able to get to some shows.
Yeah.
But even that, who knows?
In our cars.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be like American drive-in theater.
Yeah, that's what they did in Denmark, didn't they? You see, like it wasn't our sort of music. And that's the thing, it wouldn't work for us because it was just a guy on stage, like a singer-songwriter with a keyboard. So how can you can't do it with 5 people in a band because they've got to socially distance too.
Yeah.
Try and see people at the Underworld trying to stay 2 meters apart on stage.
Yeah, I can say, well, they can all just play Wembley Stadium then.
Yeah.
I also have a gig one, and it's not because it's my favorite of the year, even though I don't have many to choose from at all, but simply because I guess it's the most impactful gig of the year for me, purely for the experience. And it's one of the things I love about 2020 is that I got to see Baby Metal this year. I never thought in a million years I'd be saying that. And after not heavy criticism over the review of the new album, but the usual kind of critiques on the Baby Metal fan base, one of the things that kept coming up was, you need to see them live to kind of have a valid opinion. Well, fuck you. I now have a complete valid opinion. And I was positive about it in the sense that, once again, it's always going to stand that it's just not my jam. Yep. Live, it's 10 times more enjoyable than it is on record, because at least you've got a shit ton of things to look at and pyro and stuff like that. But I just remember sitting and I got to sit down for it as well. That was a great thing. Got to sit down for it. And I remember sitting there and thinking, shit, man, I'm watching Baby Metal play live. What happened? What's gone wrong? Yeah, where's my life? And just enjoying it. And, I said enjoying it for the fact that I don't think I'd have enjoyed it as much if I had to stand, or if it hadn't been any longer than the hour it was. But yeah. So I think that's one of my sort of highlights of 2020.
Cool. I wonder if we've been to more gigs, whether it would be different.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like lasting memories of these gigs, but they were so long ago. If we'd been to 20, 30 gigs since then, it would probably be like, can't even remember the Baby Metal show.
As of recording, as the point of we're recording this weekend, we are losing and missing Incineration Fest 2020. That alone had a lineup of enough bands that we would have been able to be like, right, there were at least going to be a massive handful. The weekend before that, Desert Fest, which I was planning to try and get to one day of at least, happened. I can't remember if we had any scheduled shows. Red Method, Crystala, Dekesis. You know what I mean? So we had plenty.
Cattle Decapitation were in May as well, weren't they?
They were, the garage. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and I'm sure there would have been plenty more around that as well, to be honest. Metal to Masters. There would have been shows all over the place. So
it certainly would not have stayed that way. I would like, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the 2020, for when we do our top 10 gigs of the year, us to actually have fucking 10. Yeah.
I mean, I am getting that to the point now. I'm sure you're the same, or I am seriously considering reviewing e-gigs.
Crossed my mind about doing reactions to them.
Yeah, try and get away with that without getting a strike on YouTube. Okay, so my next one, which is a bit longer, but it goes back now towards the music, and probably my last one that's a specific about a band, or a band and an individual, and this is Almanac, and in particular Victor Smolsky. Okay. Do you know who Victor Smolsky is?
I do not.
No, and I didn't either before checking out Almanac, their album Rush of Death, or although they're billed as Almanac, they're also kind of named Victor Smolsky's Almanac. So he's the key kind of player in this. Okay. And I remember checking it out, and obviously, when you're doing a review, especially on a band you don't know, if a band's named like Victor Smolsky's Almanac, step number one is like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And what I read up on this guy, like, he's a fucking legend.
Is it?
Like, he genuinely is a fucking genius. I mean, this is just some of the stuff, right? So he's the ex-guitarist of the band Rage, okay, who had a fair few albums.
Yep.
He's had, I think, 2 or 3 with Almanac, where he is the singer, songwriter, composer, everything, but obviously has other members in the band. But you know, it kind of reads. I'm sure they're not, but it kind of reads a little bit like it's his band, and he brings people in to play other instruments to record.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So he is from Belarus.
Okay.
Which is probably why we haven't heard maybe of him over here, because it's not always been the case that music from that far east of Europe has made it this way.
True.
Right, so let's go. So he is a kind of classed as a guitar virtuoso. So in the countries he comes from and in Russia, he's deemed as like their version of Yngwie Malmsteen. You know, he is the icon of guitars. He is a multi-instrumentalist. There is a list of about 40 instruments he plays, including piano, fucking harp, guitar.
Like and adding things like triangle there. And...
Yeah, that's what it is. It's spoons. He's a composer, and he has actually officially, he's not just listed as a composer. There are official shows, proper symphonic shows that he is the composer of. He's also a producer of many, many albums for many, many different styles of music, including metal. He's as well in that area of the world, Russia, Belarus, that sort of stuff. He's deemed as like one of the most successful music teachers. And he has a list of people that, while I'm not familiar with all of them, are people that he has taught guitar who have then gone off and become very successful musicians. Wow. Bands in metal and everything like that, right? He also is a racing driver.
Oh my God.
He is the vice champion of the German Division Rallycross in both 2018 and 19. He is a 17 times class winner at Nürburgring. Ooh. And he has completed the 24-hour race at Nürburgring 14 times to date.
Oh my God.
This guy, you know, when you know, with the people that somebody who just got they're ahead of you in the talent sort of stakes in the queue to get talents. Yeah. And somebody they were like, I don't know, handing them out and then just spilt them all on him. And then went to me and went, sorry, bro, we got nothing. And I was just like, Victor, give me some talent, dude. He's like, no, I need all this for me. And he just went off and just fucking did loads of stuff. But, you know, I just found it like so amazing to read up on this guy. You know, like, and it's the switch when you come out of the music stuff and he also happens to be a racing driver, but not a racing driver as in, here's my hobby, a fucking champion.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, and so I did the Nürburgring 24 hours. So, and then I just did it another 13 times on top of it. Why? And it's not like historical stuff. The vice champion in 2019. Remembering that this album came out early in 2020. So while he was recording this album and writing it and composing it and producing it and running his music business and everything like that, he was also off racing cars and winning every fucking race. And I just like, the album is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you can tell this guy is a producer of a lot of different things, because I guess if you were a fan of thrash, you might love half of it, not be sure of half of it.
Right.
If you're a fan of power symphonic, you probably like 3 or 4 songs in the middle, maybe don't like the ones around it. Do you know what I mean? I think if you're a bit more open-minded and you like a lot of genres within metal, you'll love it all the way through, which I did. You know, it was all genres that I'm quite happy to listen to, you know, thrash, and then it goes into power, and then it goes back to something else, and it goes back to thrash, and it's like, yeah, this is banging. But it's just like, I don't know, I read up on it, and I was just like, yeah, this guy he's left an impression on me, man. I'm in awe of Victor Smolsky, a man who I'd never even heard of before 2020 started.
Fascinating, but guarantees you're gonna, any time his name comes up in the future. And
honestly excited about it. I just think like, wow, you know, people like that, the influence and impact they are having on our scene, not because they released an album, but also the fact that he is so well respected, so well thought of, but he still chooses to make metal. That's his thing. You know, he's an educated person. He trains people on how to be a wonderful lead guitarist and then sends them off to make metal bands.
Yeah.
You know, and then we all listen to him. He's like, I don't know, there's people like that dotted around the world that are just influencing the scene. And here's one that I'd never heard of before. That's a name I won't forget, to be honest.
Fucking Yoda of metal, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Follow that up.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, fuck. Oh, should also mention people who are watching, that is fireworks. Sorry.
Oh, I can't hear it. Oh, I can now, yeah.
It might be coming, it's coming from someone around me.
It is. We are recording on VE Day here in the UK, so.
We are. Okay, game. Now, this game didn't come out in 2020. However, I discovered it. Not that I discovered it in a sense that I'm the person that knew about it. It was talked about in 2019. but I kind of didn't know. I didn't notice it or pay much attention because I didn't think it'd be my jam. Anyway, this year it came on Xbox Game Pass, and I was like, you know what? I need a game that's large to throw some time into. And oh my God, it might be like my favorite game since Deadly Premonition. Like, that's how much I love this game. And everybody should know I love Deadly Premonition with a passion. Yakuza 0. Motherfuck, this game. Oh my God, I've sunk over 50 hours into this. I haven't put that much time into a game since Skyrim. That's how fucking, other than how big the game is, but how much. That's the thing. The game itself, story-wise, probably isn't that long. I just can't help spending 3 hours running my goddamn gentleman's club instead. You know?
living the dream.
That's I end up getting lost in all the side stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, there's a story. I should continue the story, and then the story is split into 2 characters. And initially, I remember when I switched to the characters first time to go to the second, I was really annoyed. I was like, oh man, I was just getting into that story, the other one. I don't want to start with a new character. The second character's story is just as good. And now, like, you're following them both along, and now getting to the point where they're almost interacting, at least what I'm at the game. I love this game. It is so Japanese. From the story, the facial expressions to it's all of it is in Japanese. It's all subtitled. If you won't hear any English speaking in it at all. But it's all very much an 80s game as well. So you've got this over-the-top martial arts style thing, and reactions and silliness and bike rides and car chases, and just absolutely adore it. I can't praise this game enough. I'm so glad. It's one of my highlights in the video game world of 2020. Yakuza 0.
There you go. Baby Metal and Yakuza.
I should mention as well, part of the Xbox Series X thing yesterday, I was recording all those games they announced. A new Yakuza game was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, specifically for that console, or?
I think I don't. Well,
it'd probably be available backwards anyway, wouldn't it? Just for a different resolution, probably.
We're going to get to a hate video because the Xbox Series X stuff is going to come up, because my understanding is that this isn't like this. These are games that will be released on all the consoles, but then be scaled up.
Yeah.
Work better on Xbox Series X. That's what I gathered from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Carl showing his love of the Japanese culture in this 10 things. Baby Metal, a bit of Yakuza.
Oh my God, you're right.
What else you got?
There's more to come.
It's good. It's good. All right. So I think a lot of mine now from here kind of, I guess, become a bit more focused on things that I've enjoyed that have happened around the current situation of death.
Cool. Yep.
So the first one is Raised by Owls.
Oh.
I just want to, a little nod to them. I'll be honest, when they were announced for Bloodstock, I didn't give a monkeys that they were announced for Bloodstock. I was like, fair enough, probably be a bit of a laugh. Doubt I'll watch all of it. It's just another party band. Okay? And the truth of it is that even if I hated them musically now, if they come out at 2021's Bloodstock, I will still give them a standing ovation, because they have been a bit of a beacon of light in a particularly dark time, of just almost weekly them popping up with some form of nonsense, but clever nonsense, yeah. Comical nonsense that has just brought a smile to people's faces. And I can tell you that I've been showing their videos to people. My wife has been showing them to non-metal people at her workplace where she works. They all now follow them. Everyone just finds them hilarious, and they have basically become this little bubble of happiness to look forward to in a week. It's like, oh, seeing Raised by Owls have posted something on Facebook, it's just like, my day has just got better, and I haven't even watched that yet. So yeah, I just think, I don't know. I think some bands will come out of this with I don't know, yeah, and then there'll be some that won't. And I think Raised by Owls, will definitely be kind of up on a pedestal for me, as in like, the way you kind of handle the situation. I think has been fucking fantastic.
Do you have a favourite skit?
Well, I mean, my favourite is probably still the hardcore stuff, the Kill Corona.
Yeah.
Even though I think there are probably better and funnier ones. I really like them trying to record band practice with the buffering and everything like that. I love the washing your hands video.
Oh, the Napalm Death blast.
Yeah. but I think it was I think I always kind of go back to that Kill Corona track. And you know, it's just fantastic. And every time I see that little scene, I'm smiling and laughing about it now in my head, of when they're doing the slam dancing kind of in the background, you know, throwing punches and that, and it's just like, oh, it's brilliant, fucking brilliant.
It's a great mockery of that particular scene as well.
Yeah, definitely.
We can both quite enjoy. Yeah, I want to give a shout out. Yeah, I mean, I'd completely forgotten about them. So had I remembered, it'd been on this list as well. Want to give a shout out to the little longer one about lockdown ending and going to see your mate's band.
Yep.
That one made me laugh so hard because, again, it's so true.
Yeah.
People are so desperate for gigs, and as soon as we're able to go to gigs, let's see how many people show up. Okay. Boom. Well, I'm going to do I'm going to follow suit and praise someone individually as well. For what they did have been doing during this period. Someone who's a bit bigger than Raised by Owls, but probably is beloved, and it is of course Devin Townsend. And from everything from the weird eclectic stuff he started off doing to the gigs where he was raising money for medical services around the world, including our very own in this country, the NHS. Devin has thrown himself into work while in lockdown. He ran into his own financial troubles, had a GoFundMe that was met very, very quickly to help him, get through this difficult time, the loss of touring revenue and stuff like that. And he gave back. He's given back. And like everything Devin Townsend related, you just go, you're the best, mate.
I love you.
It is. It's just like, oh, you bald git. You're great.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's another one, like you said. It's just, people, I think there's some people that come out of this completely covered in glory.
Yep.
You know, and you think like back to those dark days, and these would be the people that pop into your head as, but you know, there is a dark side to it as well, because there will always be, there are other bands that I kind of feel have done the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nice to have these people that are just, I don't know, just making everything feel a little bit more normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
A bit more of a laugh.
Oh, and I also want to thank you, not you, but people who watch our videos. Sorry.
I watch them.
Yeah, everybody who watches our videos. For when we did the 10 things we mildly dislike about Devin Townsend, for recognizing what we were doing there. I went to check the stats in that video last week, and I was dreading it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's going to have so many downvotes. It's going to have so many downvotes. It's got none. It's got a fuckload of upvotes, though. I think people actually watched it and realized that we weren't really being mean. And so thank you if you watched that and hit that thumbs up button, because you understood that we are massive fans, but it is a two-tier video. Thank you.
Thank you for not being dickheads and being able to read a video's title.
Yay! Okay, it was me. It was you next.
Okay, cool. So another shout out to people that have made me feel good in a not so great time. And it's more a case of like, when you spend a lot of your life championing something, and then they do something good and you go, see, told you they're great. And this is really what it is. And like, and I'm sure, and you have too, actually, probably to me at one point, I spent a lot of my life telling people that their festivals suck and that Bloodstock is the best festival in the world.
Of course.
Not that they all suck, but so when people come to me and they go, oh, you should probably come to Glastonbury with us instead, it'd be awesome. And I go like, no, you're all right. And then they tell me all the wonderful things that happen at Glastonbury, all the friends I could make, the daisies I could put in my beard, and I'd look so good with glitter. And I always tell them about how wonderful Bloodstock is, and they're like, oh my God, but it's metal and it's scary, and I bet you guys just hate each other and it's just full of angry people. And you spend your whole life championing it, going, you guys have no idea. And then when Bloodstock came out, cancelled, postponed, whatever, it's cancelled really, innit? But like we knew they were going to, but they had to probably wait for insurance reasons or something like that. I guess you're always kind of hoping, it's the same as like when you're hoping that when that Metallica released the next album that's not shit, and then you're like, oh my God, it's good. Yeah. And when they ddid cancel, they cancelled, what you didn't want. You're always hoping that Bloodstock weren't going to come out and go like, we're not going to give you refunds. We're going to roll it to the next year, but we're going to have to pump 100 quid on top of the price. Like they could go so many ways. And then the way that they handled it, the way they kind of have given a lot more than what they will have lost. I would imagine it's been a phenomenally, I know there are insurances and stuff like that in place, but it still takes a lot financially, I think probably, and personally and mentally from them. So, you know, when it had to be cancelled, what we kind of got for it, you know, the extra day, ticket rollover, promise of a refund if you want it, you know. No, we're going to not give you a refund, or we're going to try and fight you for a refund. It's like, no, if you need a refund, we'll give it to you. 28 days, we'll do our best. Tiny increase in prices if you haven't even bought a ticket yet.
Yeah.
Like 10 quid. And that's not even till next year anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's frozen.
But even like, there was one little thing in it, which I just thought, like, that just sums them up, man. How brilliant is this festival? When somebody asked, you know, they had their video, Adam did a video.
Yep.
When they made the statement.
Yep.
And after that, one of the questions was, like in the comment section, was, what do you do about a kid's ticket? Because it's normally children, I think, up to the age of 11. What if they have a birthday?
I saw it.
They'd already covered it. They'd already said, no, as of next year, we're changing that so that it's any child from this age and down, so that we capture any kid that has a birthday, so it doesn't cost you anything else. I just thought that tiny little thing, that's how much like they give a fuck.
Yep.
That they'd even already considered, oh, what about the kids that have had a birthday? We're not going to charge them any extra, are we? Fuck no.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, I just think Bloodstock, again, covering themselves in glory, proving once again that they really are a business, but they're not in it for just the business.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to obviously dive in. It is on my list as well. I'm not going to go into the negative festivals because they're on the other list, and I will talk about those festivals when we get to them.
Yeah.
It's a positive list here. But yes, Bloodstock's handling of this even took me by surprise. I expected a certain level of class from Bloodstock, but they went above and beyond. No one would have asked for that extra day. I will say this is not me picking up myself. A week before they announced, me and Lou, my wife, were here talking, and she says, what do you reckon they could do? And I said to her, what if they added an extra day, a full day? And when it happened, I was just like, Lou, I fucking told you. They didn't have to do that. They just said, look, it's postponed until next year. I don't think no one would have been asking for it. So to have that's incredible. But as you say, the way it went down, you didn't mention this, but I'll throw this part in. Metal to the Masses. One of the biggest questions I had in that morning that wouldn't be answered till later on, and even then it's not really been answered, but it was in a certain way, which obviously when Simon Hall, Metal to the Masses, organizer, New Blood Stage, all that, he did his video. And one of the things I loved from that was him basically saying, so when it comes to doing them next year, it's up. We're going to leave it to the venues to decide how do you want to run it. If you want to run more heat, if you want to resettle the bands, if you want to push these bands through the semis who already made it through, go nuts. But basically, it's up to you.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's basically going to be a case of we just what you provide us with X amount of quality bands.
Yeah.
How you get to that, do what you like.
I love that. So yes, Bloodstock, and the very classy way they've handled this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they've been brilliant. I'm very proud of them. That's a weird line to say, but, you know, you do sometimes take pride in these things, and it's very, like, you know, yeah, I'm very proud of the way that they handle it. I think it's brilliant.
Well, we won't get to it when we contrast the two other festivals in this country, one that is postponed or cancelled, and the other that is apparently still happening, but we'll get to them on the other list.
I don't know how they think they're going ahead, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one then, go a little bit. And do you know what? Actually, it's not random at all. It is actually it's a company that I want to give a bit of props to, which we don't often do very much, but and that's Bandcamp. I think what Bandcamp are doing with this fee-free day is really good. I think on the face of it, it doesn't sound like much, but I think if you think about what's happening here, because what they're essentially have done is not only are they doing it, but they haven't set anything like upper limits on it.
Yep.
They haven't said like, you know, restrictions on how much you can buy.
Yep.
Because they haven't done anything. So, you know, if you don't spend anything on Bandcamp for 30 days and then on that 31st day you decide to spend all of your money, that's cool. They still give that all to the bands.
Yeah.
And I think it's more about the fact that they've said, no, whatever way you need to do it. It really feels like they've done something to try and support the music industry.
Yep.
With no strings attached, nothing like that. They push it, they advertise it, they push people to spend money on days when they will make nothing but losses.
Yep.
And I think that's fantastic. You know, I really do. I think, you know, they're a reasonable sized business. You know, these aren't small businesses. And there are a lot of big businesses that have done basically fucking nothing. Yeah. You know, so I think it's really cool that Bandcamp has stepped up, and it's going to be a lot of respect for them. So well done, Bandcamp.
I agree, and I think when people sort of go a bit negative on these things and all like, well, you know, it's only one day and they shouldn't really be taking a massive percentage anyway. Always remember this: they don't have to do this. If they hadn't done this, no one else has done it. Big cartel aren't doing it, and so on and so forth. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
I think you speak to a lot of bands, Carl, and I think most bands champion Bandcamp as a platform. You know, you'll hear negativity about social medias and YouTubes and even labels and everything like that. You don't really get it from Bandcamp because it allows people with limited resource to get their money up and try and make money from it. Much more money than they make from uploading it to a Spotify or an Apple Music or anything like that.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's why Bandcamp is used now quite a lot actually by record labels as well. So the record label themselves cite themselves on Bandcamp, don't they, with their own website and all their bands and everything like that. You know, Bandcamp isn't a rip-off site where the bands are getting fucked. It's an asset, I think, in our scene.
It's now become the only form. Occasionally, provided the band has a Bandcamp, and 99% of them do, it's become the only format that we will embed into reviews. We don't embed Apple Music anymore. Occasionally Spotify, but I don't like that because it won't center. It will not center in the review. But Bandcamp, always, because that's it. Yeah, I didn't have it, but I love it. But I'm also going to champion not a company, but a thing that's occurring now. And admittedly, I didn't really pay much attention to it at first because I didn't get it. But I've read up more and more about it and so on. And it's simply #SaveOurVenues.
Yeah,
this is kind of a movement more than anything else. It's not necessarily about going out and giving money, although obviously you can do if your particular venue that's close to your heart has a Just Giving page or some other way they're trying to basically survive this. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. Whenever we do it in interviews, whoever we talk to, via even on social media, just on Facebook posts, Twitter and all that, this scene's in so much trouble, it's going to be decimated. You're reading the BBC article, whatever, that will say, cultural arts will spend 5 years having to try to recover.
Yep.
Things like this, the #SaveOurVenues, is something small that you can directly get involved in, even if it's a simple matter of sharing a post or stuff like that. If you've got a venue close to your heart, just have a look. Chances are you do, wherever you're from, particularly in our scene, because bear in mind, the Wembleys, the O2 Arenas, the forums and all that, they're not going anywhere. They're owned and run by huge fucking operators.
Yeah.
The Black Heart, the Underworld, the Dev. I'm talking...
You're talking, when you get towards the pub kind of scene, aren't you?
That's it.
You know, really. Places that, get further out, like the Red Lion.
Yeah.
You know, in Gravesend. Pubs that are shut. Can't have gigs. Can't have punters.
Yeah.
You know.
A great example, the Red Lion is a great fucking example. The Red Lion. That is a fucking staple of Kent.
Yeah, it is. It's a historical venue for music, man.
Yeah.
It's a really good one, actually. I don't know if it's related to that one or not, because I was reading one earlier on today, which was about, or it's been around for a while, I think, part of this, which is like shouting the venue a pint. I think it's part of the same movement. So the cost of a pint, what you're talking, like £3, say £3.50. Shout out the venue a pint every now and then, like if you'd gone out. And that could potentially save these venues.
Nice, I like that.
20, 30 people a week shout on the pint. It's like having 20, 30 punters a week coming and bought a drink.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out.
I think it's part of the same movement, but it's worth checking out. There's like a hashtag towards it, which I think is the same one that you named. But there was a little website, like a donate thing where you could go in and shout a pint towards it.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be worth checking out. Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so unique moments. So the weird thing about, I guess, lockdown is that we are seeing things that we would probably never have seen. So from Devin Townsend's charity e-gigs to Rob Flynn's acoustic sessions that he's been doing almost weekly, which are actually, I personally, I think they're really cool, man. He's doing those with his son in on some of them. Just basically at home, just jamming away, like to songs that he loves. And he gets pissed as a fart while doing them. He starts off drinking, like an hour into it, he's like slurring and he's missing the notes and everything. It's just so raw and real.
Yeah, real. I love that.
Yeah, Metallica doing an acoustic version of Blackened.
Yeah,
I just think we are seeing things that we were never, ever going to see. And like, I'm not going to, gonna tell people like all of these things are good, because I'll be honest with you, Blackened is not a song that deserves to be acoustic. Like, of all the songs you could have done,
Yeah.
like Blackened does. You know, I didn't think it was particularly good, but I thought it was cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's really what it is, and I promise you, would never have seen that ever.
Oh yeah, why would
And
we?
it's not just that; it's stuff from the smaller bands, like your Raised by Owls, all that sort of stuff. It's almost forced people to become creative in a slightly different way, which has just meant that for a period of time, we've got a different output of music.
Yeah,
we're seeing things that that we just would never have seen. Metallica would never have got together and done an acoustic version of Blackened in their own houses, and why would they?
no,
You know, they would have been out doing the Super Bowl or something like that. You know, so. You know, trying to be, I guess, cup half full and all that sort of stuff. While it sucks that the bands aren't out touring and making money and all that, it is kind of cool to see them in a stripped back, you know, kind of fashion, as they all kind of clamour to keep their name on Facebook and their name in the headlines.
Yeah,
but you know, we're getting to see some pretty decent stuff from it. So
I agree. It's always fascinating. See some things in the work as well. Have you seen one I want to give a mention out to, because it's a label that I adore, but also a label that has some great bands on them. But next week on May the 14th, Century Media Records are doing
whole fucking festival, man.
Oh, the bands on that.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is a banging looking thing, man.
Yeah. Right. I've got 3 left and 2 of them are right. So I'm going to do one. Right. So this is all lumped into one. I promise not to go too in depth because there's a lot of them.
Okay.
So when I was looking through at albums of the year at 10 out of 10s, one of the things I noticed, and some of the 9 out of 10s as well, was, oh my God, that is a lot of British bands. And this one, so one of the things I love about 2020 is the best of British. What Britain has pulled out of the bag this year musically is fucking phenomenal. And I'm going to name some of them. My Dying Bride's new album, The Ghost of Orion, a wonderful, wonderful Doom album that is very journey-like. I'm not sure how much of a fan you would be of it. The Kesis, Fractures, wonderful, wonderful effort from them. You know, it's one of those, a lot of this as well, a lot of this, bear in mind, these should have been bigger because of the situation. The Kesis are one that I feel really suffered from everything getting fucked up, basically. But the album, go out, check it out. It's wonderful. Beggar, Compelled to Repeat. Fucking love that. And had a wicked Desert Island Dregs with them as well. So check that video out. Dark Forest, a band I had never even heard of, even though they've been around ages. Oak, Ash and Thorn, with this kind of old school British heavy metal and look at the lore of England. Sounds like my idea of hell. Turned out to be utterly brilliant. Loved it. Of course, a more recent one of Winterfilus, The Reckoning Dawn. Oh my God, could that band get any better? Godthrim, we're going way back earlier this year. Godthrim, Reflections. Wonderful, wonderful Doom album. And last but not least, there are more, but these are just the highest scoring ones. One that isn't actually out yet as of time of recording, but will be for the second part of this video. And it is Old Corpse Roads. Old Corpse Roads' new album. Absolutely loved it. Really, really impressed by another great British band. Yeah, best of British.
Go Britain.
Yeah, man. Killing it this year.
You got something right.
Yeah.
Killing it. Killing people.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I realised what you're going to do.
Sorry. Too easy. But no, it is good. It is great as well because, like, you know, this is our scene, man. This is what we live for now. These are the bands that we can, you know, like you were saying in the previous one, if you do save these venues, these are the bands we'll see in those venues. You know, so yeah, brilliant. And there's a few as well, like, you know, just even on the EP side of things, like Saw or Saw, you know, which has like been a bit of a mind-blowing one for me this year because it's not a band that I would say I cared for much. I liked and respected, but now love. You know, so yeah, go Britain. Woo woo. VE Day. Okay, so I got 2 left now as well. So I will do what I do. My easier one, well, they're both easy, I guess, but I did one which I just kind of wrote awareness. And this is really, I don't know if it will last, man, but I think it's really nice to see how many people are hopefully now becoming aware of how little money is being made by bands. When you have the likes of Cradle, Devon, you know, all having to announce their need for financial support, you see the huge losses these bands are being hit with. surely now, at last, fans understand that if you don't buy merch, you don't go to shows, like, this just cannot last. It really can't. I actually think, and this isn't a negative, because what I think the positive of this is I'm hoping that people now see, they realize how much they miss the gigs. They realize how little these bands have, because I guess that maybe a lot of people sit at home and they think your likes of Devon and your likes of Cradle, they're all financially stable. They don't need the money. It's the band in the pub that needs the money.
Yeah.
But actually, it's shit pretty much all the way up until you get right up to the fucking top.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty high up to be comfortable.
And there's only a few of them. Yeah.
And I actually think, in a weird way, that it's them bands that are probably most at risk from all of this. The middle bands. I think the little bands, they have a chance of survival because they'll have jobs and their out kind of overhead will be low.
Mm-hmm.
They'll still be able to go and play in a local pub. Right. But your bands like a Cradle, who are expected to tour Europe and put 150 grand into it, who are living hand to mouth, or your Devons, Yeah. So, I think we talked about this long before coronavirus about, shows being empty.
Yeah.
People buy the fucking T-shirts, for Christ's sake. Yeah. And I'm hoping, and I do think it has hit home, because I think that's why Devon can put up a need for help and get it smashed so quickly. Cradle's target was hit. I'm pretty sure it got hit recently as well, and other bands as well. So I think people are hopefully getting it. So if nothing else good comes out of this, if people come out of this coronavirus stuff understanding that we need to buy T-shirts, we need to go to shows, we need to fucking promote these bands, then great.
Yep. Love it. Well put. Basically, people don't just get to the end of it and go, oh, okay, cool, back to normal.
Yeah. Oh, I would have gone, but I've got to save up all my money for Metallica next year.
Yeah, God.
Because them ticket prices are going up.
Oh. Right. I've got more albums for you, but this time I'm only going to name 3, and it was 3 I chose from our list as well, who weren't best of British because they ain't British, but have released what I consider the best of the year. And I want to mention Rick Massey's Eclipse, and a solo artist I knew nothing about, reached out to us, lovely man, and he said, hey, I've got an album called Eclipse, check it out please. Was really polite about it and stuff, but yeah, no worries, done loads of these, figured it'll probably be good at best. Turned out it was fucking awesome. Turns out he is bloody great from everything, and it crosses across all fields, progressive metal, rock, just wonderful stuff. Post, it's all in there. Very, very enjoyable stuff. I also want to give a massive shout out to a band I do know about, but I'd never really paid that much attention, called Abduction from France. They released an album called Janine, which is basically, it's the story of Joan of Arc, a specific point in her history. So it's a concept album, and holy fucking shit, that was amazing. Black metal. And a bigger name, but one I've always liked, but one I've never gone really over an 8 out of 10 for. But I gave this album 10 out of 10. August Burns Red, Guardians. Arguably the best metalcore album of the year. Yeah. Wait. No, okay. Earlier on today, I reviewed Bleed From Within's upcoming album, and I gave that 9.5 out of 10. So August Burns Red is still in the lead for metalcore.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Can't disagree with any of it. I haven't actually listened to much of August Burns Red yet, but the other 2 albums, I agree. Great stuff. Rick Massey does seem like a dude as well.
Yes. Big shout out to him. Right,
my last one then. And something I've never said before, most people have never said before, but I will say now, and then thank fuck for the digital age. Aside from the very bigger side of generally ripping off artists, can you imagine what lockdown would have been like pre-streaming? When you had to go to a record store to pick up a new release, there would be no new albums coming out. There'd be no releases. There'd be nothing.
Yeah.
It would have killed a vast majority of bands, aside from absolutely huge ones. And it's probably one of the few times I can seriously think, thank fuck for streaming platforms that allow me and artists to get new music out there. I know they get a pittance in money, but at least they get fucking something.
Yeah.
And they can continue to try and be a band.
Yeah.
I did add at the end of it now, if we can just get them paid fairly.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of it the other day, like, with how one of the things that hasn't felt massively impacted was the fact that music is still coming out regularly. Every Friday, we've got a big list, goes up on our social media of all the albums that come out this week. And that hasn't really felt like it's been impacted. And I can without, I can socially distance, but I can jump on the streaming channels and I can download that, and that. And I can get my fill of music that way. I can go on Bandcamp. I can order the CDs and the merch and the vinyls and everything like that. And I was just trying to think like what this would have been like before streaming and how much it would have fucking sucked. So, I guess, I don't know, I guess at times like this, you kind of think back as like, we can all be quite quick to say like, fuck streaming. I only buy CDs.
Yeah.
But I bet that time sucks for them right now.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people out there who only buy CDs and refuse to stream are currently streaming.
I always thought that was a silly thing to do as well, because I'm like, bet you're streaming Netflix though, aren't you?
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's my last one. Go digital age.
Go digital age. Right. My last one then, it's back to the video game world. And I am going to praise Nintendo for accidentally delaying Animal Crossing by X amount of months. It was supposed to come out late last year. It was delayed because they wanted to perfect it, which is a very Nintendo thing to do, because obviously Nintendo only ever released quality. By chance, call it blind fluke, they released Animal Crossing pretty much when the world went into lockdown. A game where you could literally spend hours living a completely different life. And it's, other than being a wonderful, wonderful game in the sense, like, don't get me wrong, it's no Yakuza 0, but it's a game where you can literally just lose yourself in, and anyone can play it, from a 5-year-old to a 50-year-old to a 90-year-old. It's Animal Crossing. And I've seen out there, it's doing a world of good for people. It's an incredible distraction for a lot of people. It's a chance as well for people to be creative, because it's very, very open in that sense. Nintendo have updated it several times already with new content and added content, all for free as well. It is a Switch seller. So like if you are, I think as well, like nowadays, if you're planning to get a Switch, chances are you're going to be picking it up for Animal Crossing. So that's great for them. And yeah, the love and care that was put into it, the time and the force of good a video game that is actually doing, I think is, yeah.
Go video games.
Yeah, Animal Crossing. Well, play Yakuza 0 instead. So much better.
Not suitable for, what did you say, 5 to 50-year-olds?
God,
Yakuza?
No.
Keep your 5-year-olds off Yakuza and out of those sex clubs. Or gentlemen's clubs, sorry, yeah.
There's an entire fight sequence that takes place because one guy gets a bit handsy with one of my girls. No.
One of my girls.
There you go, 10 things we love about 2020 so far. Of course, we will have 10 things we hate, where we're going to be a lot more sad and negative.
Yep.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?